Oh, unfocused in Maryland. Welcome to Jobferno, everybody. I'm 𝐸𝐴𝐸, and today we're going to talk about humping. Welcome to Jobferno, everybody. I'm 𝐸𝐴𝐸, and today we're going to talk about job hopping. Job hopping is something that I hope that we all understand what it is. And, it manifests in a couple different ways. And job hopping is very common when you're a younger person, when you're just getting started in your career, and when you're really driven to make more money to really advance your career. But there are a couple problems with job hopping that really hurt. For employees, job hopping gives the individual the feeling that they are in control, that they are the masters of their own universe, even though they are not the employer. And it gives them the opportunity to make good and to grow their career as fast as they possibly can. But it has a weird issue, and this only happens with job hopping, where it makes you think that you're doing good, but it actually ends up causing a lot of the problems later in your career. The advantages of job hopping is that it allows you to increase your pay rate, and it allows you to develop your career and grow your career faster. It grows your resume, it grows your job title, but more importantly, it grows the wages that you make. Now, if you've ever heard any of my videos at all, you know that skills are more important than money. And when you're job hopping, you clearly have that reversed. You're focusing primarily on money over any sort of skills. Now, there is an advantage to job hopping when it comes to skills, in that as you hop from one place to another, and this is really, frankly, kind of bigger in the IT world, where the more places you go, the more type of technologies you encounter, and therefore you get to add more skills, more software to your resume. But there is a breaking point when it comes to job hopping. There are some careers where this works out great and it actually can help you for the most part. But then there are other careers where it's really detrimental to you. And so what happens in the career of a job hopper is they say, oh, well, I've been here for 6 or 7 months, and I can see that, I have a year or two worth of experience now, or at least I could pretend, and I could get this job over here making $20,000 a year more. Why wouldn't I do that? And absolutely, why wouldn't you do that? But then they do it once. It's kind of like using a credit card. Once you use it once and you use it over and over and over again, you just can't stop using the darn thing. So what happens with a job hopper is they go for about 10 months, and then you'll see it on the resume. They'll go 10 months, and then another 10 months, and then 8 months, and then 10 months, and then 8 months. And then something weird happens. Something drastic happens. Suddenly, they don't have a job. What happens when you end up job hopping too much is that somebody looking at your resume could say, oh, that's a trend. You mean you worked 5 jobs in a row and they're all for less than a year? So what are you going to do in this job? I know. You're going to quit in 10 months. Amazing. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. But the thing is, for a job hopper, the thing they don't understand is early in their career, they don't know, they are not realizing that they are building that trend line. If you do it the first time, going from one job to another, you go, oh, okay, whatever. I mean, it's no big deal. They're early in their career. Maybe that just wasn't the right fit for them. So I understand. And then the second time somebody goes, well, we get it. You need to build your career. It's understandable. We're a little concerned, but it's not that big of a deal. We think you'll stop here and you'll love our business. And then you do it a third time, and then a fourth time. And by about this time, anybody who's looking at your resume is saying, come on, bro, what the hell? From an employee standpoint, you've bounced around from one place to another, and, you've done okay in building your salary and a few other things, but now you're kind of in a situation to where nobody's hiring you. And you'll actually see this. I see this in the resumes where, they'll have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places that they've gone within 3 years, but then they'll be at a place for 2 years. Because what happens is nobody will hire them again, and then they get stuck in that job. And then they end up with that 2 or 3 years of experience, and then somebody goes, they've matured, they've learned their lesson, let's hire them again. And then they go to that place, and in 10 months, they're gone. So the downsides of job hopping is that people just plainly won't hire you. And for many recruiters, for many employers, for many hiring managers, if they see any time period that's under a year, they won't even consider you. And the problem with that is these places that aren't considering you, those are the places you want to work. You want to work with places that want you to be there. If you got places that are just desperate for your attention, desperate to take any damn fool they can get, even if you've only been working for 10 months at a time, that place is going to suck. There's a reason for it. Most likely they've got high turnover. You know, there's something else bizarre going on at that workplace, and you're not really going to like it there anyway. The places you want to work are the places where they do want to take in consideration the amount of time that you've worked in one place. Now, there's a huge old caveat to this whole thing. The issue is that this really comes down to profession. This comes down to what kind of job you have, what kind of skills you have, and what your situation is. If you're a C# engineer and you're the only C# engineer in town, and you have 10 places that need C# engineers, there's a good chance you're going to get hired. But if you are somebody who has worked at, I don't know, we'll just say Target or Walmart, and you've only worked there for 5, 6, 7, 8 months at a time, and you're trying to go from one place to another, and you're trying to work at a place that says, I've got 30 resumes to choose from, and this guy is a little off-putting. Yeah, that's not going to work out too well for you. The biggest loss comes in the long term. And the long term, when you job hop too much, is you haven't really networked with anybody. You may or may not have any friends along the way. And I know maybe you're not there to make friends. You're there to work. But the knowledge that you learned along the way will be very shallow and will not be very valuable. And you won't really be able to use it for much. You will perpetually be in a fake it till you make it situation. Now, again, maybe in some environments this works, but in most environments it doesn't. So this topic of conversation comes from Reddit, from HMM Sure. Is it a bad idea to job hop this early? 10 months? Job hopping after 10 months. Graduated last summer and started to work as an engineer in MD. I make $76,000 a year, plus around $600 to $1,200 a month from a low-effort side hustle. I despise the area I live in. For any of my old hobbies, I need to drive 1.5 hours one way to participate in them. Apartments are $2,000 a month, and rent plus whatever utilities. Essentially, my job has me doing software engineering with zero guidance. I don't have any software engineering experience. I'm a mechanical engineer. And all my questions and emails get unanswered. Oh, all right. I'm going to tell you a secret. If you are a mechanical engineer, if you're any sort of engineer, if you got an engineering degree outside of software engineering, you are considered to be an expert right out of school. Many places assume that if you're an engineer that you're able to figure out whatever the hell you need to figure out. And I know this because I've worked with a lot of engineers who are the people that they depend on, that employers depend on to know everything. And pretty much every engineer I know like this will work. And if they got a problem, they figure it out. So that's the first issue I have here when they say that, they don't get any sort of guidance whatsoever. You're a freaking mechanical engineer. You're expected to come in and be the guy right away. Now I'm going to ask a question. Why, oh why, did you choose a job where you're doing software engineering when you have a mechanical engineering degree? It's a completely different profession. Completely different. A completely different trajectory. Everything about it is completely different. I understand. Now, as far as job hopping at 10 months, They're a mechanical engineer and they're doing software engineering and they're making $76,000 a year. This would be a case where actually, yeah, you should probably leave. You're not job hopping. This sounds like this is the person's first real job. Maybe, just maybe, you should find something that fits you better. And here's the real cheese to this whole thing. They say, I don't have any software engineering experience. And then later they say they've been targeting a job in the Tampa area. It is in software engineering, but in a field I enjoy and has more guidance. So that's the real cheese. And it stinks, man. That stinks. They're a mechanical engineer. They went to school for mechanical engineering. And they're doing software engineering. And they want to do software engineering. What the hell? Something's not right there. And the biggest part, which is really stinky, is they say it has more guidance. So let me get this straight. At some point, you decide to become an engineer, a mechanical engineer, which by nature of that sort of job, that profession, you have to be able to work on your own without supervision, without guidance. You knew that you were not going to get much supervision, much guidance. And here you're just saying, oh, I can get this job working in software and they'll give me guidance. That tells me this person has no confidence. They have no confidence in what they're doing whatsoever. And frankly, if they have no confidence, that probably means that they suck at their job. That they're hoping that they can fake it until they make it with their crappy ass software development position when they should be a mechanical engineer. I tell you, there are a lot of places around the country that are starving for mechanical engineers. And maybe this guy just really isn't one. Maybe he's just, I don't know, maybe he's just a faker. He's a poser. The real issue here is not that they're trying to decide whether to stay at their job or whether job hopping is okay. What they're really wanting to ask is it okay that I need guidance? Is it okay that I am not good enough to do the job that I'm currently employed for? I find it kind of interesting that they have a side hustle. They have a low effort side hustle for $600 to $1,200 a month. Let's just, do some calculating here. Okay. You have a low effort side hustle making between $600 and $1,200 a month. That tells me they got something going on beyond being a software developer, beyond being a mechanical engineer. That tells me this person isn't really interested in being an engineer. Most likely, this person's father went up to them before they went to college and said, son, you're going to be an engineer. That's it. End of discussion. Go be an engineer. And this guy, whoever it is, said, okay. But they got a lot more going. They got a side hustle. And they say 23 graduated last summer, and they already have a side hustle. I'll tell you what happens when you end up with a side hustle. A lot of times, that develops into a full-time job. Maybe not that specifically, but then eventually you're going to have a different side hustle. And then a different side hustle. And then eventually, guess what? That's going to be your full-time job. That side hustle, that's going to pay all the bills. So right away, just from this posting, we've determined this person is not at all competent enough to be a mechanical engineer. This person wants to pose as a mechanical engineer to get the pay. But there's another possibility here. Maybe it's not going very well. And maybe they just need, I don't know, a pat on the back from the Reddit community to let them know it's okay to leave. Yeah, it's fine. But they know they're struggling at work. And now they just need to leave. That's it for today. I'm SP Graham. This is JobFerno. If you got questions, send me an email at questions@jobferno.com. And as always, choose skills over money.